The last time onwards, I think that we people had met. I think what we were doing is audit of banks. As far as audit of banks is concerned, some part of it is left. Major part of it is finished. Okay. Last time, if we just want to, one second. If you remember, last time we had finished this entire PDF. Hello. I hope realize firstly, audit of banks is according to banking regulations, then the financial statements, qualifications, disqualification, and rights. They are the same as company audit. Appointment we have to still discuss. So that we are going to discuss today. We'll finish the chapter today. Then we'll start with nothing but your favorite chapter related to your favorite subject, IT. Okay. Thereafter, we have some people are like, sir, how much can we take in one day? You tell me that first. Huh? अरे यार अच्छा thereafter we did reporting requirements normal and additional LFAR. Thereafter caro not applicable, there were the initial considerations. Then we people had told the main business accepting deposits, granting advances. Thereafter security to be taken, security to I hope is primary and secondary. I hope price can be tangible, intangible, movable, immovable. This was important. Then the modes of creation of security, I hope price mortgage, registered, equitable. Then pledge, hypothecation. If you remember, movable, possession with the bank, possession with the customer, gold and auto. You remember? Acha, thereafter assignment, set of lien. Classification of advances, I told you. Basically, you will learn in the chapter of in advanced accountancy in the chapter of banks. So when that banking accounts happen, you will come to know how they are classified and what is the provision to be done. But simple classification is performing asset and non-performing asset. Okay, so ultimately I hope you realize how non-performing asset is also of three types: substandard, doubtful, and loss. Correct. Thereafter we had done different types of non-performing asset. You remember? Term loan overdue for 90 days, then overdraft facility if it becomes out of order, then agricultural advance. This was important. I hope as I was a farmer. Hello. Short duration crop, long duration crop, short then two, long then one. This is how I told you to remember. Don't look at me that ways. I told you one more way to remember: longer. So ultimately longer is one. Exactly. Remember that ways, no? Credit card account, I hope realize if at all you don't pay the minimum amount due for 90 days after the second statement. Then erosion in the value of security. I told you apart from soil erosion, we need to know this also. Then ultimately, I hope realize if the realizable value less than 50% of the value assessed last time, NPA. If the realizable value of the security less than 10% of the outstanding balance, NPA. See, whether doubtful asset or whether loss asset, eventually the NPA only, no? Then central government guaranteed advances. I told you for central government, no need to create provision. But when you talk about state government, correct. I told you state government changes at midnight, so there is no surety. So ultimately, need to create reversal of income. If the income is accrued and you have credited, and later it becomes NPA, can I say it has to be reversed? Okay. Thereafter, audit of advances, that is loans given by the banks to the customers. You have to check classification, internal controls, loan documentation, recoverability, income recognition, provision is proper or not, security is adequately taken or not. Thereafter, talking about its ICS, so simple. Check the credit worthiness of the borrower. Credit worthiness is basically, I hope, price, KYC and the CIBIL score. You will check now whether he is worth giving or not. Thereafter, documentation. I hope as loan documents, sanction letter, the documents that he has submitted is reliable or not. I hope as audited, then obviously more reliable. Unaudited, less reliable. Thereafter, terms of sanction, whether the terms of sanction are proper or not. Okay. Thereafter, margin should be kept. You remember last time I told you about margin. Supposing if at all the value of the security is 100 lakhs, they will not give you loan of 100 lakhs. They will give you loan of 80 to 85 lakhs because they keep some margin against the fall in the value of the security. Okay. Thereafter, security should be registered in the name of the bank. And lastly, if there is any irregular accounts, it should be brought to the notice of the controlling authority. Then we people have two things: audit of revenue items and audit of expenses. Revenue basically is what? Income. I hope as interest, fees, commission, all that is nothing but income for them. If there is any material income, then it should be recognized as per AS9. And when I say AS9, it should be recognized as it is earned. In other words, it should be recognized on accrual basis. Now, what is material income? If you remember last time I had told you, material depends upon whether ultimately the bank is following gross basis or bank is following net basis. If the bank is following gross basis, then it is 1% of the total revenue. Okay. If any income is greater than 1% of total revenue, it is material income. And net is if there is any income which is greater than 1% of net profit before tax. So here basically you do incomes minus expenses. Here you just take all the incomes. All cool? Okay. Thereafter, if anything is uncertain, then ultimately I hope as it should be recognized on cash basis, AS9 only. If later on it becomes NPA, then you people have to reverse the income, and even the fees and commission can be recognized on accrual basis. This I told you, giving example of factoring commission also. Acha. Thereafter, audit of expenses, very simple. I hope as expenses will be on deposits, because I hope as public deposit in the bank and they have to pay interest on that. So ultimately, interest should be provided on all deposits. Thereafter, rate should be as per RBI and bank's internal regulations. Fixed deposit, the rate should be as per nothing but the receipt or the certificate. Thereafter, I hope a savings bank should be as per the rules of the bank. And lastly, even if there are matured deposits, the ones, supposing you made fixed deposit for 3 months, but 3 months are over, so the deposit has matured. Even if the deposit has matured, interest still has to be provided for. All cool? All cool. Now, just two, three things which are left basically to complete the chapter. Come to the textbook. Hmm. What I wanted to come to is this accounting system of the banks. Yeah, Shweta, can be anything. Page number 369, as per some reliable sources. अब तो इसमें तो reliable ढूंढना भी difficult. हाँ? I know, right? Ah, ah. Okay, now come to this accounting system of the banks. Now talking about accounting system of the banks, very simple, yeah. Can I say bank can either be computerized? I hope as you have done in IT, core banking system, or they can be partially computerized, partial manual, or they can not be computerized at all. So ultimately, can I say fully computerized, partially computerized, and not computerized? So see, banks may be divided into three broad categories based on the level of computerization. Firstly, non-computerized banks. So obviously here all operations are manual, correct? Acha, then is partially computerized bank. Then can I say it is manual plus automated? Okay. And lastly, fully computerized bank. Can I say it is entirely automated? But obviously there'll be some people at the back end, no? All the operations are basically automated. That is the meaning. Now use common sense. Can I say if it is a computerized environment, basically IT environment, can I say obviously there are risks also? So can I say auditor will have to check whether ultimately the ICS is proper or not? Because if the ICS is not proper, can I say risk of frauds and errors are high? So ultimately the auditor, if at all the banks are computerized, the auditor will have to check the computer systems, whether they are adequately working or not. All cool? Okay. Then see, in a computerized environment, firstly, it is imperative that the auditor is familiar and satisfied with the norms and parameters of the latest RBI guidelines, and it is incorporated and built into the system that generates information having an effect on classification, provisions, and income recognition. Basically, classification and provisions happens of advances. Thereafter, a bank should have appropriate controls to manage its risks, including effective segregation of duties. You remember that segregation of duties I had told you? In a bank, if you have people visit a bank now, you will find that ultimately I hope realize the person who once is doing a particular duty is not again doing the duty the next time when you go. For a simple example, if there is one person who is clearing the passbook on day one, I hope as if you go on day five, that person may not be clearing the passbook again, because I hope there has to be segregation of duties. Perfect. Rotation. Fair enough. Thereafter, the auditor should not go by the assumption that the system generated information is correct and can be relied upon without evidence. Why? Array, it is because system also can be wrong. No, there are risks also. No. Just like I hope realize manual can go wrong, systems also can go wrong. All cool. Okay. Thereafter, what I want you to come to is this bank audit. Systems can be easily hacked. You don't know. Acha. They say that a bank should have appropriate controls in order to manage the risks. Acha, how will the bank manage the risk? So simple. Segregation of duties. And see that they are telling between front and back offices. Thereafter, accurate measurement and reporting of positions, verification, and approval of transactions. What do you mean by approval? Correct. Authorization. Good. Can anybody in a bank can do any transaction? No. I hope if at all there has to be some sanction of the loan, that has to be done by a proper sanctioning authority. Na? It cannot be done by anybody. Achha. Thereafter, reconciliation of positions and results, setting of the limits. What are setting of the limits? Drawing power. I hope there are various limits. For a simple example, even there are transferring limits. There are nothing but withdrawal limits. So for a simple example, that depends upon customer to customer. No? For a simple example, there is a normal HDFC customer and say there is one HDFC Imperial customer. He is a higher level of customer. So obviously there the withdrawal limit is high. For a normal customer, the withdrawal limit is low. So these limits who is setting up? Can I say banks are setting up? Correct. So ultimately, I hope realize that auditor will have to check whether the limits are set properly or not. In fact, those limits are also in real life. Many limits are set up by the computer itself. See, they have systems in place. So what happens is that system has nothing but the deposit and withdrawal, all information. Now in the software, there is a trigger. If that number triggers that particular thing, then ultimately I hope realize the system will tell the limit has to be increased. The system will then tell limit has to be decreased, like that. For a simple example, you must have heard something like pre-approved loans. Now, what do you mean by pre-approved loans? I hope as pre-approved means now you don't require any documentation. Your transactions in the account are only such by which ultimately the loan has got approved only. You just have to come, sign, take it and get lost. Now, by the way, who approved that? Did the people approve that? No. Systems have approved that. So depending upon nothing but whatever are transactions in your account, the system has already pre-approved some loan. Similarly, pre-approved credit cards. I hope what are pre-approved credit cards. Ultimately, I hope depending upon you, whatever happens in your account, I hope realize that is the system will trigger one thing, and once it triggers, they will tell you are eligible for pre-approved credit cards. Okay, ceiling. Okay, I'm talking to ceiling. Acha. Next is reporting and approval of exceptions. What do you mean by exceptions? Inconsistency. Correct. Oh, Big Boss has come. Oh my God. As if these people were less. Welcome, Big Boss. How are you, Big Boss? I know, right? Acha, what do you mean by inconsistency? Very simple, yeah. Supposing if I tell you in the overdraft facility, the limit set is 5 lakhs, but say the outstanding balance is 6 lakhs. Can I say outstanding balance is greater than the limit sanctioned? Can I say your account has become out of order? Oh, hello. It is out of order, no? If it is outstanding balance is greater than the sanctioned limit. But can I say if it is out of order, it is inconsistent. And if it is inconsistent, it has to be reported to the controlling authority. Okay. And lastly, physical security and contingency planning. Oh, respective sir, madam, I don't have camera in my device. Baba Adam. Eh, you don't have camera in your device, sir. I hope realize more than the number of food elements that you have in the home are the number of cameras which is there in the family. What the hell are you talking about? Exactly. You only have camera, it seems. Huh? I know they are texting Big Boss, but then even I could see, no, because it comes to me also. No, after all, I'm the host. So rude, yeah, you are, yeah. Huh. No, yeah, Big Boss does not talk to me. Oh, some people look at them, huh? Well, all this is okay. You'll give break or no? बोलता है, see now 2 hours are there, but come on, yeah, you are used to giving breaks. You'll give break or no, yeah? As if you have not got a break, yeah? You had DT in the morning, I presume, from 7 o'clock, yeah? Till 11 o'clock, yeah? So you had break, no, yeah? 9:30 to 10, yeah? Deemed break, it seems, yeah? Oh, from 6:30, yeah? Oh my God, 6:30 to 11, no? See, now do you even realize my call to that particular girl at 1:30 a.m. was so necessary and why it was relevant? Huh, what? No, so rude. Yeah, you are so rude. Shut up. Now you at least recall why I had to call. At least now do you think? See, Arey, but she didn't clear. What will I do? Yeah, you people somehow feel that her not clearing is more of my fault rather than me clearing because of her. Huh. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. Break dash break. Huh. 2 hours also you require break, it seems, yeah. Naseeb say to I have come for a muh dikhai lecture, yeah. Like I have to show face and get lost. In that only 2 hours will happen. Huh. Why na? Yeah, hashtag no break. Wow, fancy. Now listen, oi, what do you mean by physical security and contingency planning? So simple. It means you should take security which is adequate. And what do you mean by contingency planning? Keeping basically the margin. That is the meaning of contingency planning. Because there may be a fall in the value of security, no? I want to do that chapter and try to finish it off here, that IIT thing. It's a small chapter. Come on, you're done? Acha. And lastly, C. Auditor should consider the bank's unique features and draw an audit plan accordingly. I don't know. Doubtful. I'll try to, but then I don't want to rush into things. So rude. रहने दे तू. रहने दे चाहे तू भी. Come on, you're done? Okay. Next, what we have is important. Engagement team discussions. Now, what do you mean by engagement team discussions? What do you mean by engagement team? Can I say audit team? For a simple example, say you and I, say we together are a team. Okay. So rude. Firstly, I'm keeping you in my team. Then also you are like, no, no, we don't want to come. So rude, yeah, you are. Yeah. Come on, now we'll become a team, yeah. Say together we are a team, okay? It's like I have to beg you, please come in my team, it seems. Okay, now say together we are a team, okay? And together we are doing audit of a bank. Can I say we will have to discuss certain things? What will we discuss? What no? One thing is for sure, apart from bank, you will discuss everything. But can I say we'll have to discuss about the bank? What will discuss about the bank? Can I say the nature of the bank? Can I say the business of the bank? Can I say the ICS of the bank? Can I say the errors that basically happen in the bank, then where they happen? If you have past experience, then obviously on past experience, you will come to know that major misstatements happened in which area? Loan area, credit card area, recording area, which area? So ultimately, can I say there are various things which we need to discuss? Not only that, even before we start the audit, can I say we people will have to discuss in order to plan the audit? So ultimately, engagement team discussions are not only which is done during the course of an audit, they are also done before you start an audit in order to discuss what is to be done in an audit. All cool? Okay, see, engagement team discussions, what are they? Very simple. The engagement, oops. The engagement team should hold discussions to gain better understanding of the bank, its environment, including ICS. Why? Very simple. In order to assess the potential of material misstatement. It is always frauds and errors. All these discussions are appropriately documented. Why? Proof, na? After all. For nothing but future reference. If you remember in documentation, one advantage is future reference. If in the future, I want to see what happened in the past, then I will have to go through documentation. Correct. Thereafter, the discussions provide an opportunity for more experienced team members to share their insights about their knowledge and the bank and its environment. So you can relax. The engagement team discussion ordinarily includes the discussions of the following matters. See, this is what it is. Engagement team discussions on the following matters. Now see what matters. Errors that are more likely to occur. Thereafter, errors which have been identified in prior years. Method by which fraud may be perpetrated by the bank. What do you mean by perpetrated? Done, initiated, started. By the bank personnel or others within a particular account balance and or disclosures. See, method by which a fraud may be perpetrated means basically the nature of the fraud. For a simple example, whenever there is nothing but a loan which has to be sanctioned, there have to be the bank people who have to go and check the value of the security, whether that security is worth the value or not. Now, ultimately, it may so happen that the people who actually go to value the security, they may not value the security properly. I hope realize Vijay Mallya case, yeah. For a simple example, what happened? I'm telling you again. Say, for a simple example, this is the security that say Vijay Mallya is giving. Okay. Now, ultimately, there will be bank people who will come. Now, bank people have to value the security, and against this value of the security, the loan will be given. Okay. Now, say the value of the security is somewhere around 100 lakhs. So the loan that you can expect is somewhere around 80 to 85. Now, these people, what Vijay Mallya did is, you know what? Vijay Mallya basically bribed these people. They are like, these are bank officials. Hello. So ultimately, these people, they came to nothing but value this security. Okay. Land and building. They are like, okay, we'll value. Now, Vijay Mallya bribed them and told that even if the value is 100 lakhs now, you people show that it is 1000 lakhs. And once it is 1000 lakhs, I hope as according to that, what will be the amount of the loan that can be disbursed? 800 to 850. See, so basically, I hope realize the value was nothing but inflated, no? Since the value of this was inflated, the loan also got inflated, and accordingly, he got a more loan on the security, which is very less. Come on, yeah. So it means, can I say such type of frauds can also happen, no? So ultimately, the auditor will have to be careful that what can be the type of frauds which can basically happen that can come on past experience. It was basically saying credit card accounts, or it was nothing but say in loan sanctioning or wherever. It can happen in credit card accounts also. They can create various fake accounts so that just to show the number of transactions which are there. You understand what I'm telling? Okay. Thereafter, what should be the audit responses to audit risk, pervasive risks, specific risks? In other words, all the risks here. We have done all the risks. Which risks? I hope as risk of material misstatement, inherent risk, control risk, detection risk. You remember CID. So supposing if at all there is nothing but control risk. What do you mean by control risk? The internal control system will not be able to control all the frauds and errors on a timely basis. Now, if at all there is the control risk, can I say my procedures, think and tell, will be less or will be more? More, correct. So ultimately, can I say when I say more procedures, it is my response. Okay, next. Need to maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. Now, what do you mean by professional skepticism? Oh, English. Professional skepticism. Skepticism is a questioning mind. That is the meaning of skepticism, basically. For a simple example, whenever you are checking anything now, you should have a questioning mind. Okay. That basically when you get anything, and if you people think there will be a doubt, then you ask questions. Why this, why this, why this, why this, why this, why this? Ask that to the management till the time they don't clear it. That is the meaning of nothing but professional skepticism. Now do you understand? Okay. And lastly, need to alert for information or other conditions that indicates a misstatement. Now, obviously, it indicates it may be a misstatement. It is not necessary it will be a misstatement. Correct. It is a possibility. Yeah. Come on, yeah, done, yeah. Can I say very manageable, yeah? This comes in the examination for 5 marks. So, what are engagement team discussions? Very simple. Engagement team discussions are basically done in order to obtain nothing but a better understanding of the bank and its environment, including nothing but ICS, so that you can decide the possibility of the material misstatements, whether it will be more or whether it will be less. What does engagement team discussions basically include? Errors where they are more likely to occur, errors which happened in the past period, method by which the fraud can be done by the bank people, auditors' responses to the risks in the audit. Thereafter, you have to maintain professional skepticism. You have to be alert. If at all there is any fraud, please be alert. And thereafter, if you see any particular fraud, you also have to basically report on it. All cool? All cool. Come on. The last thing, appointment. It is down only. Wait. Come here. Okay. Now, when you people talk about appointment, firstly, there is eligibility and qualification. Can I say that is the same? That is the same as nothing but company audit. I hope as either an individual or a firm. Individual when you are a practicing CA, firm when? Correct. Majority of the partners are practicing CAs. Perfect. Thereafter, appointment. Now, appointment of the auditor will depend upon the different types of the banks. Nationalized bank, State Bank of India, subsidiaries of SBI. You know what are subsidiaries of SBI? If you have ever heard, have you ever heard something like State Bank of Travancore, State Bank of Rajasthan and Bikaner? Now, what are all this? These are actually subsidiaries of SBI. Okay. So ultimately, I hope is when I say SBI head office, then there are subsidiaries of SBI, which are these chotu banks in that chotu areas. Okay. Thereafter, we have regional rural banks. You know what are? Now they have merged, I know, but they can ask you this. Huh. What are regional rural banks? As the name suggests, they are in the rural area. But you know what is the holding basically? 50% is held by the central government, 35% is held by the nationalized bank, and 15% is held by the state bank, state government. So basically, if you just check now, I hope as major shareholding is with the central government. So again, I hope this is basically government owned only. So first four, if you check now, these are all related to government. And lastly is any other case. So can I say all the private will come there? No, one by one will go. Firstly, nationalized bank. Nationalized bank, who will appoint the auditor? Appointment will be made by the BOD. But I hope they will have to take prior approval of RBI. What about State Bank of India? Very simple. Since I hope State Bank of India owned by the government, can I say CAG will have to come? Then ultimately C. Appointment will be made by the CAG. But CAG will consult whom? Central government. So CAG will basically consult with the central government, and after the consultation, CAG will appoint the auditor of SBI. Acha, what about subsidiaries of SBI? Very simple. Subsidiary of the SBI appointed by SBI only. When I say SBI, the BOD of SBI. Acha, what about RRB? Same, BOD. But wait, who is the major shareholder? Central government, and therefore prior approval to be taken of the central government. And in any other case, I hope as all the private players use common sense. Can I say shareholders will do that in a general meeting? But wait, you are private players, but you are doing banking, which is ultimately I hope as Apex Bank, RBI, and therefore prior approval of RBI is required. Hey, come on, yeah, manageable, yeah. Wait, tell me, nationalized bank who will appoint? BOD. Acha, but I hope as prior approval of RBI. State Bank of India, government owned entity after all. Who will appoint? CAG. But CAG will have to consult CG. What about subsidiaries? Very simple. Directly I hope by the SBI only. So BOD. Thereafter RRB, again BOD. But I hope prior approval of central government because central government is a major shareholder. And thereafter any other case, shareholders in a general meeting, but prior approval of RBI. All cool? Wait, let me see whether you know or not. Nationalized bank. What leaf of brains you have? See, Baba, see. See. See, I started with Nationalized Bank BOD. I ended also here. Basically, I hope realize. See, BOD, BOD, BOD. Three case there is BOD. That is how you can remember also. Only two is a problem. One, I hope realize. This is okay, no? Private player shareholders. And State Bank of India, CAG. Apart from that, to BOD, you can remember, no? Yeah. Come on. Nationalized Bank, BOD. Okay. Then approval of RBI. SBI, CAG. That you will never forget because it is government. So CAG. But in consultation with the CG. Subsidiaries of SBI only. In other words, you can say BOD also, no problem. RRB, BOD. But I hope as major shareholder, central government, and therefore prior approval of central government. And lastly, any other case, shareholders, but prior approval of. Will you be able to tell now at least? Wait, let me check. Think. Nationalized bank. Then we have SBI. Wait, no. Then we have subsidiaries of SBI. Then we have RRBs. And lastly, what we have is others. Come on. This, wait. I told you three are nothing but I hope realize BOD. First, always finish that. Okay. I hope SBI has a problem and this last one has a problem. Apart from that, there is no problem. Correct? So can I say this is all BOD, BOD, BOD? Come on, yeah. Acha. Now, SBI, CAG, others, shareholders. But I hope shareholders, RBI. Oh, then here also, RBI. First and last, RBI, RBI. But when you talk about CAG, can I say here, CG approval? Come on, yeah, in consultation. Can I say here also, in consultation with the CG? Because there the major shareholder is that. See how I'm moving. First and the last, second and the fourth. Whatever. There is no room for creativity. Acha. And lastly, what about this? This BOD only, no. BOD of SBI only. Finished. So first and the last, this and the this and this. All goals? Okay, fair enough. Come on. Now, the last thing which you need to know there is remuneration. Now, who will fix the remuneration? Very simple. For nationalized bank and SBI, that is government-owned entities only, remuneration is fixed by RBI. Money, no. Money who will give? Money. Money, what is written? RBI only, no. So ultimately, I hope as RBI in consultation with the CG. Okay. Apart from whatever is above, it means, can I say apart from nationalized bank and SBI, wherever it is, remuneration is the same which was in section 142 of the Companies Act. I don't know how many of you remember. We had done this in company audit, if you remember, FEF. Fees, expenses, and facility. In case of first auditor, remuneration is fixed by the BOD. In case of subsequent auditor, it was fixed by the BOD or the shareholders as the case may be. But can I say in case of the first auditor, it was always BOD? So I hope that same provision will apply here only. Only differences for nationalized bank and SBI. For nationalized bank and SBI, it will be fixed by the RBI and it will be in consultation with the central government. Come on, you're all cool. All cool. Wait. Oops. This is next what I have to start. Firstly, I hope, where is the space here? Remuneration of the private company. Who will fix? Private bank? Huh? FEF, section 142. But then who will fix? First auditor? BOD. That is what you have to remember. Acha. Thereafter, subsequent? Correct. It is either the BOD or the shareholders as the case may be. Acha. What about nationalized bank and SBI? RBI. Okay. And they have to consult anybody? Yes, they have to consult the central government. All cool? Appointment clear? Remuneration clear? Okay. Let's go to reporting then. See. Now, bank audit report. But this is bank audit report in case of which bank? Nationalized bank. SBI also is same only. If they ask you remuneration of the private bank has to be fixed by whom, then you have to entirely explain 142. Entirely. That remuneration of the first auditor of the bank will be fixed by the BOD. Thereafter, as decided in the general meeting. Thereafter, remuneration includes two things, no? Expenses and facility. So remuneration includes any expenses in connection with audit and any facility provided to the auditor, but does not include any remuneration for any other services rendered by the auditor at the request of the client. So whatever we people had done there in company audit, same has to be written here also. But that is apart from nothing but nationalized bank and SBI. All cool? Okay. Now, in case of nationalized bank, the bank audit report has to specify certain matters. What matters? Very simple, yeah. Whether the balance sheet is proper or not, whether ultimately the PNL is proper or not, whether the transactions which have happened of the bank, whether they are within the powers of the bank or not. It means I hope there has to be only authority. They have not gone over the authority and done something. Like I hope in case of Harshit Mehta, which happened in scam. I hope banks were involved now after all. So ultimately, can I say they basically overwent the authority and they did something wrong. So ultimately, such things should not happen. Whether any other matter which auditor feels is of some significance or importance to be told to the government, then he can tell. So see, in case of nationalized bank, the auditor is required to make the report to the central government, which has to state the following. Now, what following? Firstly, whether the balance sheet is nothing but full fair balance. Obviously, when I say fair balance, true and fair view of the affairs of the company, because balance sheet obviously shows the affairs. Hmm. Thereafter, whether or not the transactions of the bank which have come to the notice are within the powers of the bank. Thereafter, whether or not the returns received from the offices and the branches have been found adequate for the purpose of audit. Returns is basically information. Whether the profit and loss shows a true balance of profit or loss for the period covered. And any other matter which he considers, obviously this is APJ, correct, a matter of auditor's professional judgment. It is not necessary. First, fourth are necessary, fifth one is optional, to be brought to the notice of the central government. So how many things are there? Five. You know how to remember? I'll tell you how to remember. See, balance sheet, P&L. Firstly, to this to remember, balance sheet shows the true and fair view of the affairs, and P&L shows the true and fair view of the profit or loss. Thereafter, ultimately, whether the transactions are within the power of the bank or not. Thereafter, ultimately, whether the returns have been got from the branches or not, and any other matter. What? P&L, balance sheet, transactions, returns, any other matter. What? Balance sheet, P&L, transactions, returns, any other matter. Can I say very manageable to remember? So how to remember? See, P&L, balance sheet, the transactions are within the control or not, that is within the powers. Thereafter, I hope there is any returns which are received from the branches, and thereafter any other matter. Come on, you are very manageable. Okay. And the last thing, see, the report of the auditors of SBI is also to be made to the central government and is almost identical to the report in case of nationalized bank. Can I say same only? फिर भी उतना नहीं है रे जय, as much as others. Come on, you're all done. Bus. This is what you have is nothing but audit of banks. Nothing more than this. Whatever is remaining will be covered in nothing but I hope realize your banking accounts chapter. That accounts chapter will come in nothing but advanced accounts. I hope this much was more than enough. Acha. Now what are the important questions? Just come to this audit of banks. I'll tell you what is mostly asked in the exam. Firstly, this initial considerations. No. So then, thereafter, security is very important. Modes of creation of security is also important. They ask you basically, I hope is any one or two for two marks. Normally ask two for 4 marks, two into two. Okay. Thereafter, this agriculture important, credit card important, erosion important. This is exam question. Thereafter, what we have is C, reversal of income important. This ICS important over advances. Then revenue important. Bus. From this one. Today, what we have done in that engagement team discussions is important. And this part is important. Bank audit report. Come on, yeah. Can I say very manageable? Bus. This is what you have is nothing but your chapter of audit of banks. So with this, finally, what we finish is banking audit. Personal security of guarantor. Ray. For a simple example, I am giving guarantee on behalf of, say, you. You have taken a loan, but I am giving guarantee. Then that is a security, no? After all, I hope as the bank will come to me, not to you. So ultimately, I hope as I have given security, no? That is personal security of guarantor. What else is it?